Canada is breaking up with the United States. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, spoke at CPAC. This is it's not that CPAC. It's not the Canadian Political Action Conference. It's the Canadian, I'm sorry, it's not the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's the Canadian something, CPAC of Canada. Mark Carney making it clear Canada's done with the United States under Trump. They are going to invest inside of Canada. That means military. That means defense. That means industry. And there is one 5-letter word that is the reason why this is all happening, and that is Trump.
Our strategy will recognize that in today's global economy, we have to build sustainably. It's not just a moral duty, it's also an economic imperative. It is a moral duty, but it's an economic imperative. Now, above all, we will build Canadian. The new security threats the world is bringing to our shores means we're making the biggest investments in our military in generations. But up until now, more than 70 cents of every dollar of military spending, military capital expending by our government goes to the United States. With our new Defense Investment Agency, we will make sure we build more of our security and defense capabilities here at home, creating new careers in aerospace and shipbuilding and cyber and AI for Canadian engineers, technicians, and scientists. It's the same thing in steel. Consider that while 80% of the steel that Europe buys is manufactured in Europe, 75% of the steel that the U.S. buys is manufactured in the U.S. Only 40% of the steel that we use is made here. That doesn't make sense. Not when we have the people, the resources, and the companies to build right here in Canada. So our upcoming budget will move forward with our Buy Canadian policy, prioritizing Canadian steel, aluminum, lumber, manufactured good, and technology for Canadian projects.
Why is it that when Trump is president, we have more and more distance with our traditional Western democratic allies, and we are tighter with dictators and authoritarians? Why is there now a move by Canada to move away from the United States, while Trump is closer than ever to Putin, closer than ever to Viktor Orban in Hungary, and enamored with authoritarian dictators around the world? Well, it's obvious why. It's because Trump doesn't respect democracy. Trump isn't impressed by democracy. When you tell Trump, hey, look at this country where the will of the people determines who leads them, and the leaders are responsive to the will of the people, that's not impressive to Trump. What's impressive to Trump is how drug trials in China are very short and they always end in conviction. That's interesting to Trump. That's impressive to Trump. That's what Trump is enamored by. Carney continued and said, we have had decades and decades of getting closer to the United States, and that is now over.
So because of these advantages, over decades, our economy grew steadily more integrated with the United States through the Free Trade Agreement of the 1980s, the NAFTA Accord of the 1990s, and eventually USMCA agreement signed in 2018. Canada's trade increased by over 400% during that period, and our economy doubled in size. But this process, this decades-long process of an ever closer economic relationship with the United States, is now over.
Oh boy.
And as a consequence, many of our former strengths as a country, former strengths more particularly as our economy, strengths based on close ties to America, have become our vulnerabilities. And as a result of that, the jobs of workers in our industries most affected by the U.S. tariffs in autos and steel and lumber are under threat. And our businesses are holding back investments, restrained by the pall of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us.
This is not good for the United States. And I know that we have to all pretend that Republicans know what they're talking about when they say, oh, Trump's making us strong and he's forging ahead and making the U.S. independent. This is a disaster for the United States. This is barely getting attention. This is a major piece of news. The Prime Minister of Canada a long-term ally, one of our major trading partners. We have bilateral and multilateral trade agreements with Canada. They're saying we're just not that into you guys anymore, and it is because of Donald Trump. Now, of course, many of us will think, hope, and expect that once Trump is gone, January of 2029, or whenever he is finally gone, all of these relationships get repaired. But as I said, when it comes to China looking elsewhere for soybeans, which we'll get to later in the show, the other country doesn't have the incentive to come crawling back to the United States. Once they get independent of the United States on, it might be steel, might be auto parts, it might be soybeans, it might be something else, they're all set. It's the United States that ends up screwed, and they've got us over a barrel. So the damage that Trump is doing, when you look at farmers and what they are saying, we see the damage that's being done right now. But the longer term effect of this damage is going to be felt. I mean, listen, it could be felt indefinitely. These could be irreparable relationships. And Mark Carney isn't even doing it quietly. He's doing it publicly. It's yet another way in which Trump is just screwing the average person, but he's going to be fine. Don't worry.